Alex Bywater from Media Wales. Last week we saw you facing Michael Hogan in the nets. You must have a new appreciation for what the batsmen are going through out there.
Absolutely, I think there's been some decent bowling so far. Australia, I don't think they just got it quite right, which enabled Joe Root to make a brilliant century. Stokes and Moeen Ali as well batted beautifully to put England in a decent position after their poor first morning. And I think England have done well to just chip away at the Australian lineup. I don't think it's a pitch where you can run through opposition. Anderson and Broad, and I thought Wood was good as well. So it's all set up for an intriguing third day.
Obviously you're with us today for the first time in the press box. I think we've just squeezed you a seat up there, 100 people in there. What do you think the buzz and the conversation in the press box might be this morning?
I think there's going to be plenty of anticipation. I mean, I think it's quite an even game at the moment, and I think the morning session and today as a whole is really going to define who comes out on top in this game. If England can dismiss Brad Haddin quite cheaply when he comes in this morning, I think they'll be on top. If they can get maybe a 50-run lead, I think they can go on to win this game with Australia batting last on a surface that may stay a little bit low in the fourth dig.
And obviously lovely to see lots and lots of Ashes content on Wales Online and through Media Wales, including your Ashes Live blog. What have the local people been saying about hosting this event this week?
I think the local people have loved it, really. We've had two sell-out crowds down here. Yesterday especially was glorious sunshine, and we had pretty much a whole day's play on the first day. It's been brilliantly received, and I think the rest of the days should show that.
Melinda, I know play's about to start, so thanks for joining us. Obviously working for ESPN and kind of the Australian media view. Like us, you like to run around with a camera and speak to people. What's the mood been like around the ground for you?
It's been fantastic, and I've actually been, it's great to see that I've found a lot of Glamorgan supporters and Welsh fans who are embracing it as well. Lots of Australians around, and it's actually a really nice atmosphere. I've just been listening to the band as we're walking up. It's really exciting. I think the whole mood around England cricket is so good at the moment. After the fiasco of probably a bit over 12 months there, the way things have turned around so quickly from especially after that Lord's Test, I guess, it's just been amazing. And I think there's definitely a much more positive feeling around the supporters, and perhaps not feeling that Australia is as indestructible as certainly they were 18 months ago home.
And of course, when you're not enjoying the sunshine running around the ground, we do unfortunately stick you up in the press box with 100 other people. What's the mood like in the press box at the moment? Obviously we know that the game's looking quite close as it stands.
Yeah, I think definitely the feeling is perhaps at the moment that England certainly bowled very tightly yesterday and very well, and that perhaps really the Australians are paying a bit of a price for possibly being too aggressive when the aggression isn't quite called for. So certainly some of those rash shots that they got out to yesterday, the likes of Stephen Smith and Michael Clarke, perhaps didn't need to be attacking at that time. So England bowled very well, they bowled very dry, and so I think the feeling is that the momentum just sort of gradually swung back towards England as the day unfolded yesterday. Still, and the thing is, Australia really know that they're in a contest. They've got a fight on their hands from this English side, and who would have thought that just a couple of months ago?
And obviously you've been over here in the UK now for a couple of months working the domestic season. Have you been blown away by Ashes fever, or is it exactly as you expected it would be, and indeed how it is over in Australia?
Yeah, it's very different. I find there's a bit of a difference in the press. I think the Australian media tends to hammer the opposition, while sometimes I think the English media tends to hammer its own a bit much. So there's a little bit of a difference there, but again, I think that's kind of swung around a little bit. What I find is interesting is how some of it is manufactured. I've been at interviews or whatever when players have said things, and then I've heard how those comments have been put to the opposition players, and it's just nothing, all taken out of context and calling it sledging when it's not sledging. So it's interesting to see sort of from that perspective how that can unfold.
And just lastly, obviously we know you're here for long days at the Test match, long and hot days, but obviously a bit of socialising in and around Cardiff with the media, lots of people staying locally in hotels. Has it been a warm welcome for you?
Oh, massively so. A really warm welcome. Everyone, even the security guys around the grounds have been terrific. The fans have been lovely. And I had some very, very good Japanese food last night. So if I can find good sushi in a city, then I'm really happy. And Cardiff has the best sushi I have found since I came back over to the UK.
Peter, great to catch up. You're obviously working at the moment for Cricket Info and for All Out Cricket. I know you've just come back from the Caribbean, where you were covering the T20 over there. I guess my first question for you would be, is the Ashes still as special as it always was, given the razzmatazz of T20 cricket these days?
I'll always love Test cricket more than I love anything else. I love T20. I think it's great, but Test cricket is, it's where it's at. Whether or not the Ashes is still as great, you just need to look around. Here, it's just buzzing. The stadium's sold out. Every brand that wants to be associated, can be associated with the game, wants to be. The Ashes is still such a big draw. I think for those of us that immerse ourselves in cricket, like the weirdos that we are, maybe it's not as exciting as it once was. This is kind of the 11th match in 2 years, but you just have to look around at the way the general public view it. The atmosphere, the way it's sold out, the reception the Australian players get from the crowd, all the ribbing that they get. It's amazing. It's a privilege to be it.
And obviously, you've got a situation, you're a local boy, 16,000 sellout for the first 4 days here. We've been blessed with a rare bit of sunshine here in Wales. How special is it for you to see the test matches go around the ground, to particularly come out here to Cardiff as well?
I'm delighted to have Test cricket just down the road from my house. I'm not going to lie, it's fantastic. But yeah, no, it's lovely. I mean, this stadium's special to me, Glamorgan's special to me. I love coming here, so it's really nice to see it packed out and so many Welsh fans coming and enjoying Test cricket. The England and open brackets, Wales closed brackets team are doing really, really well. No, I'm pleased.
And as you know, you're often my go-to guy over the last couple of years at Glamorgan for cricketing knowledge and to tell me what's likely to happen in a game. What do you think the result will be come Sunday afternoon here at the SSE SWALEC?
How Brad Haddon goes this morning's key. If he can get Glamorgan, if he can get Australia anywhere up to England's score, then I think it's anyone's game. But if England do as well as they did yesterday and get a lead of anything between 50 and 100 runs, then I think that's enough for them to win the game. Hopefully, it'd be nice to start with a win. It's been, I'm looking forward to how the game progresses. But yeah, no, England are in front at the moment.
Great stuff, Pete. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch up with you later on.